What exactly happened behind the moment that suddenly left the entire army speechless? Why did Taehyung leave in a way that felt so different this time? And what exactly was the emotional line he delivered to Jungkook that made the fandom tremble? The questions immediately filled the timeline after a short recording circulated, showing Taehyung visibly preparing to leave, while Jungkook stood not far from him. There was no music, no crowds, just two sounds that sounded faint yet were enough to make the entire internet explode. Taehyung seemed to be holding something in his eyes. His face was calm but not calm, as if there were many things to say, but only one sentence finally came out. And this is what makes everything collapse. Some fans who claimed to be on location said that Taehyung spoke very slowly, but clearly enough to be heard by those closest to him. There was a long pause before he said it. A pause that made Jungkook lift his face, as if waiting for something he himself was not ready to hear. And when Taehyung finally spoke, the atmosphere instantly changed. Short but weighty words. It was as if a door was closing slowly but surely. After hearing that sentence, Jungkook did not react immediately. He only looked down for a moment, then smiled slightly, a smile that actually made many of the army more destroyed. Some call it a smile restraining emotions. Others feel that it is a sign that both understand something that the public does not yet know. Even more horrendous was Taehyung's decision to leave without further explanation, either through social media or an official statement. It was as if that sentence was enough for Jungkook and too much for ARMY. Fan sites also discussed how Taehyung patted Jungkook on the shoulder before turning around. A brief touch, but definitely full of meaning. Some say it's a sign of temporary separation. Some call it a form of apology. There is also a more dramatic, supposing that Taehyung delivered something that he had long hidden, a TO date. There is no certainty. But one thing is clear. The way Taehyung said that line, the way Jungkook received it, and the way the two parted ways that night left a big question mark that left the entire army holding its breath. There was something that hadn't been revealed, something that only the two of them knew. Meanwhile, Taehyung is also seen leaving the location quickly, without a smile, without a wave, without a greeting. Usually, he always takes the time to smile a little or wave his hand even though he is tired. But this time it's different. The way he walked, the way he looked down, the way he took a breath, all gave the impression that something was really bothering him. Some of the detail-sensitive army immediately highlighted the earphones still hanging in Taehyung's jacket pockets. What makes the moment even weirder is how Jungkook doesn't seem to be trying to catch up. Usually, if Taehyung doesn't seem okay, Jungkook is the first to approach. But that night, the break between the two was noticeably longer than usual. Some fans described it as a silence too full of meaning. Netizens began to speculate. Some suspect that Taehyung's emotional line wasn't just a casual message, it was something that changed the dynamic between them. Some say it might be about a big decision. Some think it has to do with an unannounced project. There were also those who dared to think that Taehyung was begging for space for himself. In the midst of the uproar, another piece of video emerged showing the two a few minutes before the breakup took place. Taehyung and Jungkook seem to be talking, but their expressions aren't what they used to be. No chuckles, no jokes, no warm eye contact. There was only a brief conversation, then silence. And after that, the sentence that changed everything. Even so, some ARMY are beginning to realize that whatever happens may be more complex than just spontaneous drama. Taehyung and Jungkook are two people who always show mutual understanding, support, and a deeper connection than the public sees. So, if that sentence makes Jungkook silent for long enough, there must be a big reason behind it. Millions of eyes are waiting to see if Jungkook will signal through Weverse. Waiting for whether Taehyung will calm the hearts of fans. Waiting on whether all this is just a big misunderstanding or the beginning of something bigger. That moment, of course, had already sunk into the hearts of the army. The sentence Taehyung uttered that night, although not yet revealed to the public, was enough to make the fandom world torn between curiosity and concern. And for some reason, everything felt that what was happening was not over. There is still the next chapter, which will either warm the heart or make even more tears fall. What makes ARMY even more confused is Taehyung's expression in the description. He looks like he's refraining from turning around. It was as if he wanted to go back towards Jungkook, but chose to keep walking away. The decision, according to the staff, seemed weighty, very heavy. Then comes other information that adds a layer of emotion to the incident. Minutes after Taehyung leaves, Jungkook is seen exiting the building, but is seconds too late. Fansite cameras in the parking lot captured the moment Jungkook opened the door quickly, looking left and right, as if looking for someone. And when he didn't see Taehyung anywhere, he just stood still before finally closing the car door and going back in. The fandom is divided. Some feel this is just an exaggerated miscommunication. Some felt that Taehyung was going through pressure that he didn't want to put on Jungkook. And there are also those who suspect that they are both preparing for something that requires a temporary distance. But one thing is indisputable. Their interaction that night was unusual. Too quiet. Too heavy. Too emotional for just a passing moment. Some ARMY noticed another detail. The small bracelet Jungkook had always worn suddenly wasn't on his wrist. While the ring that Taehyung often wears looks like he turns around before saying the phrase. A small detail, but for the fandom, it's enough to spark 1,000 theories. Not long after, reports surfaced that Taehyung was heading straight for a place not listed on his public schedule. The location is still a secret, but fans suspect he wants to calm down, away from the spotlight. Jungkook, on the other hand, remained in the building for a longer time than usual, as if waiting for the next direction.